The secret mission that they've been planning is to fly from Genikets, north of the Crimea, across to the oil fields at Maikop, and the whole airborne army was to fly there. So this starts off early in the morning of the 5th of October. One battalion of the assault regiment in gliders, followed by 3 battalions of paratroops in Ju-52s, launch, and they were accompanied by fighters. 2 hours later, 6 more battalions follow them. They do encounter some Soviet planes along the way, but they're the older type of Soviet fighters, and they quickly brushed out of the way. They land at Maikop's airport and military airfield, and of course nobody expects this to happen. So total surprise is achieved, and all the airfield installations are captured intact, along with the oil fields. Preparations are then made for the next hop, while more troops and supplies are flown in, and the 4-mile gap between the 2 airfields at Maikop are linked up, and a perimeter established around the whole area. They don't expect to see a significant Soviet counterattack for some time, because it would have to come from cities that are a reasonable distance away, and also because the Germans are pressing down on Rostov, and the Russians are fully occupied in trying to keep the Germans out of the gateway to the Caucasus, which is what Rostov represents. It's decided that although it probably is very risky, they will continue on to Grozny, and to increase the chance of there being a surprise attack. Student doesn't wait for everything to be ready, but packs most of the paratroops into 600 long-range Ju-52s. They leave on the 7th of October with a reduced fighter escort. The airfield of Grozny had been alerted, though, and the paratroops took heavy casualties when landing. Fighting continued until the next day, when the 3rd wave arrived. This tipped the balance, and the airfield was secured by 1 p.m. However, a 4th wave had to be left at Maikop due to a strong Russian counterattack there. So they were shot. Many men were shot down as they tried to paratroop into the airfield, but the ones outside the airfield were survived. So while the fighting is continuing at Grozny, the counterattack at Maikop is driven off with difficulty, as although they had tanks, the Russians were only using the old light tanks and the few 37mm anti-tank guns that the Germans had brought in were able to deal with them. At Grozny, the airfields were littered with debris, making it hard for planes to take off and land, and reinforcements did not arrive until 9th of October. However, the local Chechen people volunteered for all kinds of tasks to help them in any way they did, and also spies behind the Russian lines. The total losses so far were 3,500 troops and almost 100 aircraft. On the 11th of October, a Soviet counterattack at Grozny is beaten off with Chechen help. Further Soviet action is prevented by the need to keep the Germans out of Rostov, and near where 100,000 troops had been surrounded. The logistical problems of getting troops and supplies to Grozny mean that Student is told he has to delay the next attack until the 18th of October. And everybody thinks that he's crazy to continue to do another drop, but he's determined to make every opportunity that he can. So, but what he does do is delay until everything is ready this time. So he doesn't take off till the 18th of October, when he has all the gliders ready, and he's done a thorough reconnaissance of the 3 airfields. He selects the largest airfield, that's also the closest one to Grozny, and because the Russians are still occupied in the main German ground offensive and expecting the immobile airborne pockets to not go anywhere and be difficult to supply and just wither on the vine, they don't bother them too much. However, this enables the build-up to continue both at Maikop and Grozny, where Student is promised some ordinary infantry to take over from the airborne troops. And by flying in from the Caspian Sea, they take the defences of Baku by surprise. The local people welcome them, and the airfield is taken in a couple of hours. The refinery and oil fields are captured intact, and this is important for Student because it means he's now got a supply of fuel, which he can just get from the refineries. Although, of course, he can't transport it back again.